Claro, claro, claro. Sí, sí, sí.
¿Ves? You are using also the Spanish.
Claro,
No,
claro.
claro, venga. Guay. ¿Qué pasa? Bienvenidos a más un AtomCAST internacional. Yo soy Leonardo Romeu, diseñador industrial y gerente de diseño en Tech Electrodomésticos aquí en Madrid. Y hoy hablamos con Bernd Karlsboeck, Circular Economy and Innovation Consultant en Barcelona.
Start, no?
All right. Yes, so first of all, Bernd, thank you very much for your time, for being with us.
Thank you.
To share a little bit of your long career. I know you are a young guy, but let's talk about
I don't look like
long
it.
journey.
Exactly.
No, you don't look like. Maybe you can, if you want to put a hat, no problem.
I was thinking
feel
about
free. To try to pass a me, but
no.
But no, and as usual, I would like to start asking about if you can share something about your you can tell us your journey since the beginning, since when you want to start till today, that you are working with lots of things, interesting things, by the way. And then I'm, as a curious, I can ask you lots of other questions.
Yeah, so like the start in Austria, obviously. I am from Austria, from a really small place, just like between 2,000 and 3,000 people there in the mountains in Austria.
Wow!
So I always had like a very like strong connection anyway to nature, because like that was what was there, right? And if you don't know what to do, you basically then spend time outside. There's always like some cows around, a lot of cow farmers in the area, and so on. Snow, a lot of snow. So there's not really much going on in like summer nowadays, yeah. But when I was small, basically, like there was nothing going on, and then suddenly in the winter, thousands of people.
How far? Yes, of course. And how far for a big capital you were at that time? How far from
pretty
a big
much
city?
like big city, like what you would compare, like actually say, okay, this is a city now. Definitely like an hour. An hour drive.
Wow. Okay.
It was amazing. Like it was amazing childhood. And at some point, I basically had no idea what I actually wanted to study. And I had a really good art teacher that gave me a book of one of her professors, that was kind of like the king of industrial design in Austria at that time, and he had a design university. So I applied to the place before not really knowing what was the application kind of process, but apparently it was like pretty heavy. Was very, very interesting, the studies. So it was the in German Fachhochschule Joanneum. It's like the higher school kind of Joanneum.
Yes.
And kind of like all the way already in university, I started to have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with industrial design, because there was always a lot of innovation going on, new ideas. You always were kind of being thrown into another situation, into another problem with every project, because usually you would work at a consultancy, and that means you never spend more than a year or more than half a year with the project, which for me was really interesting because I still didn't know what I wanted to do, and it's great to figure out what you want to do actually,
and touch different aspects, different projects.
But at some point, I kind of always started to see a bit also the wastefulness of the profession, that it wasn't really we couldn't in very few cases make a choice about should we really do this project. is it helping anyone really?
Yeah.
Like, is it making the world better? As a like taking a step back and be like, okay, does the world need this? And so
Exactly.
like I also kept talking with my friends about this. And there was also a good book about exactly that topic, which is pretty much this is exactly that guy. The person
Oh,
is called Victor
nice.
Papanek. Victor Papanek, and
Peter
it's
Papanek.
from the
Yes.
70s. The book.
Sounds.
Um, it's a
Yes, it's an old one. I remember to. I didn't read this
see,
one,
it's
but I
like a
remember
classic kind
this
of
this
design
this
for the
author.
real world, like for
Yeah, yeah,
human
yeah.
ecology and social change.
Exactly.
And I always had this in
Nice.
the back of my head. And so kind of like when other people said like, oh, what's your motivation to do this, and why are you in this? My answer kind of very often was, if I don't do the project, someone's gonna do it even worse. So which was like a little bit like, okay,
It's
I'm gonna
true.
try
It's
and
true.
make the best
It's
out
true.
of everything, and I'm kind of protecting people like from someone not like doing the same in a worse way. Which was
Yeah, yeah.
everyone always told me like, oof, that's a very negative way of approaching things. It's a
I
way,
mean, it's a
exactly.
way, no problem. I think
So to say,
it's a way. Yes, you're right. You're right because I think it's a huge discussion about that. Not to how we as designers, if we can really choose go in this only. No, I'm gonna do only this kind of project that really helps people or make things different. Doesn't do. I don't want to do any another. Let's say another
yeah,
trash, another product. Just to, but in the end
exactly.
there are in the end there you have people
Mm,
that needs and how in the end you can improve even
mm,
if
mm,
it's
mm,
not
mm, mm.
the perfect word, no, but at least it's somehow to
Exactly.
make it better, no, the industrial
Sí, 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 sí,
production.
total. And I think there is a lot of a leverage that you still have as a designer.
Mm-hmm.
It's limited if you only, I think, work in the limits of like a design department, let's say. Um, I
Yeah.
think the biggest thing throughout, like from the first internships that I had, like went through like all kinds of like different directions. Like for a bit at Porsche design it in London, worked a bit in New York.
Porsche design, but the company, you mean
There,
Porsche was,
exactly.
as far as I remember, it was one of the first ones. But was Porsche design that makes industrial products or Porsche
The
make only
industrial
for
design
cars?
product.
The
Exactly.
industrial
So
design.
they are actually like
Okay,
10 minutes away
nice.
from
They
my hometown. Sí, 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 sí,
they're
sí.
really near. Nice, nice,
And
nice.
so it was like a very, very, very nice team there, really. And
Uh huh.
so basically went through pretty much all of the fields. I was very happy that like I was able to see how they do interior design projects, how they do fashion design projects, how they do that kind of, because they really do everything. Then design it where
Yeah.
it was a lot more service heavy kind of. And then actually switched to, after design it, to projects for the technical university in Delft, but it was in Cambodia.
Okay.
Um, exactly.
Cambodia.
Sí, sí, sí.
Come on. Why
Because
Cambodia?
it was basically I wanted to like kind of get out of this field that I was in, just doing like traditional industrial design and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they did a lot of
Yeah.
restructuring in London, so I like quickly kind of was already looking for another project basically at that moment. And the one in Delft was really interesting because it was basically um, a bit of a development project of um, at the time Cambodia had like a very much of a boom of tourism, and a lot of
Okay.
hotels and restaurants and so on came up, and they were like the architects basically, or the planners of these projects, they were approaching craftsmen in Cambodia saying, we need like
Hmm.
50 chairs in a month. And then, well, these craftsmen were really doing everything by hand. They wouldn't really be able to do that type of project in a short period of time.
in industrial, same
exactly. So a
industrial
lot of the
scale, no?
hotels kind
Yeah.
of went to Thailand, to Vietnam, to surrounding neighbor countries, which were a lot more industrialized.
Nice.
So the problem was they were doing projects, but they just bought stuff from outside and then put it into Cambodia. So the Cambodian people weren't really benefiting from that. And that project itself was,
Nice.
I think, always was really nice and always stayed with me. And that's why I think when I was continuing to work as an working as an industrial designer, I really often tried to focus really on like the essential stuff, trying to reduce as much as I can wasteful materials, try to any social aspect of the project seemed like it was like always like very, very important to me, maybe like strangely important to me. But yeah, and then basically like that's in Barcelona after Cambodia.
But I mean, just a question. In Cambodia, you're kind of helping the local
Exactly.
ones how to improve
Exactly.
and to
So
make something more, let's say, to increase
exactly.
quantities also.
Exactly.
That was the idea.
Basically find a little bit of a balance between being able to take those projects, meaning being able to make larger numbers, maybe doing
Nice
partnerships
one.
with other craftsmen, basically, to be able to take a larger project.
Yeah.
And also finding this balance of,
Really nice.
well, the traditional handcraftsmen, which had like a certain
Yeah.
style, to go through the design process with them very often, and or in like an iterative project process, and showing them how to potentially like minimize some handcraft manufacturing aspects, but still keeping the
Yeah.
traditional craftsmanship alive somewhere in the product, but in a little bit of a more reduced
Great.
design version. Because obviously, the thing
No.
very often
Yeah.
was, and this completely understandably will be the same thing in for any master craftsman in Austria or Spain. If they're asked by a super expensive hotel, can you make a couple of chairs for us? They want to do the best they can, and the best they can in Cambodia is very ornamental,
Yeah.
very like stuff that
Yeah.
takes long, right? And that's why it's worth a lot.
Yeah, for
So we
sure.
kind of needed to find that balance of like, yeah, that's cool, but also you need to be able to fulfill those orders.
Yes, maybe put on this part this kind of something that you're gonna take more time, and then try to make it simple. This part that's not so
Exactly.
important. No, kind of. Well, teaching them how to how to improve their work and their quality, maybe, and also their quantities, no, the
Exactly.
production, basically. But it's nice because they don't
See,
have this idea, no, they
bueno,
don't know about that, and they kind of
see, I
losing,
think the thing is, no, I
or
think
not.
the thing is they were very much aware about like protecting the environment. They
Mm.
were very
Oh,
much
nice.
aware about that people from foreign countries were really valuing
Mm-hmm.
very natural production standards, etc. And then they saw like, oh, okay, yeah, this has
Nice.
value. People like this, so it makes complete sense. So we're also gonna, um, yeah, no, this was a very nice thing. The problem was basically all of the foreigners that came into the country and tried to do all of the weird like businesses kind of that they could potentially do, and like selling tropical wood back to Europe in a certain way or whatever. So
Oh,
there's all these things going on, but
nice. Yeah.
there were a lot of creative minds, especially the students that we worked with, super open. So no, that was very nice.
Really nice. Really
And
nice.
yeah,
Interesting.
no, afterwards I basically came to Spain, to Barcelona, because the project at some point, it was a European funded project in Cambodia. So at some point, well,
Okay.
it had a predetermined kind of like end. And then I came to
Okay.
Barcelona
In Barcelona, because something, or there's another project in
because
Barcelona, or
because started working at Mecca, basically. Exactly.
so you came direct to Barcelona to start in
Exacto.
Acar.
Exactly. This is
Ah,
it.
okay, okay. That time really, let's no. It's funny because it was a really
Yeah,
small
it was
studio, no,
very
that
small at
time,
that moment.
and now we can say it's one of the
Definitely.
biggest in
This is
Spain. No, we can
even
say even
Europe,
in Europe,
exactly.
even in
No,
Europe.
no, the I was kind of like in the first wave of growth there. So that
Yeah,
was very interesting to see
nice.
how a company, how fast that can actually happen. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
exactly.
5 6 years, no.
Um, yeah, and there
Yeah.
basically like that's when we met at HP as well.
Ah, yes, you came also
Exactly,
to NACAR, but just to work inside as a
exactly,
contractor in HB,
and that's
right?
where we worked.
Ah, in the
Years
beginning,
ago.
yes, and then when we met, yes, another
Exactly.
life, you know.
Yeah, I think there probably I was working on the project that I'm probably still most kind of proud of, which is probably the least. Every detail of it is designed, but it looks like the least designed product actually, which I'm really like somewhat somehow proud of, which is this basically the ink cartridge box, right? Um,
Everybody
everyone
knows
knows
about this
about
project.
that
Work
one.
with you, long time doing your small bags, big bags,
Exactly.
cardboard. No, but you can tell a little bit about this project because it's
Yeah, no,
an
no,
amazing
it
project.
was actually amazing, and
Uh,
also it brought me a lot of learning for projects afterwards in that same direction. It kind of started out as HP saying that the cartridges that we currently have are very outdated, and we would actually like to look
yeah.
into like doing just like a remodel basically of the same thing. Currently, it was like a big
Mm-hmm.
plastic thing, like a plastic container with like a bag inside, a couple of like chips and like little electric connectors and so on on one side.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, it was quite wasteful, to be honest. The product, and we at some point the thought was, and that was always like this thinking that I had, which was, what if it wasn't, what if it was just a bag, and like you're gonna send it in a box, so why wouldn't it just be that? Because you're just gonna take
Yeah.
it and you're gonna put it into a printer, and afterwards you would like it to be absolutely gone, right? The current cartridges that they had, even after use, they kept this massive volume of plastic, which was all air inside.
Yeah.
Um, and so at some point, we basically brought up that concept of just have putting a bag into a box, because the bag was always needed, because the liquid needs to be protected and it couldn't be a Tetra brick. We also
Mm-hmm.
went there. We went to a lot of more reduced ideas, but there's a couple of minimum things that we needed to keep. But
Yes.
um, the interesting thing about the project was that we basically got by. What it was interesting was we got buy-in from people that had a lot of experience within HP, and also that were kind of very,
Mm-hmm.
I think, very respected within the company. Because I was still a very like
Sure.
young person there with weird ideas. So no one would
Mm-hmm.
listen to that. But the thing was, if I could convince these people, which I know
Yeah.
they do already have a motivation of like trying to be more sustainable within the company, etc. If I could win them over, then, and they say this is feasible and this is actually not such a bad idea, then no one else would question me in any of the meetings. And
Yeah.
that was kind of it. So that's when Silva, Miguel Boleda being the technical
Uh-huh.
expert, kind
Yeah.
of made this team around this idea, which
Mm-hmm.
we were not supposed to work on. Everyone hated us for doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but in the end, it got a following. We didn't have any budget, right? Like, so we had a little bit of budget to
To
think of like
spend,
a
yeah,
couple of
yeah,
ideas about it and have sessions, introduction sessions, but those were on they weren't on
yeah,
no salary sheet. Basically, they were like invisible.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And we kind of like kept building the project until we had enough material to actually present it and present the idea. And I think also in that moment, the people who saw that, obviously there was like a cost benefit and everything, but they also saw that, hey, there are all these people behind that idea already, which is already a very strong message. And all
yeah,
of those were kind of working somewhat for free on this. And then it became a full project, it became official, and a couple of years ago, it actually hit the market. And
yeah.
it, like from my end, complete success, because like plastic was eliminated by like between 80 and 90%. It, it,
No, it's a
and
huge number.
exactly, so the footprint of the production itself, and those are things that, so that kind of impact was only possible working at a larger enterprise, right? Because if you change that one thing that is kind of like their baseline product, the volume
The
is
volume, no,
incredible.
it's worldwide. No, and I think this is a nice example that big companies, big technology
Mm,
companies as HP, and one the first point, no, is how do you need to that time you Silver and this small team that
mm.
started with a crazy idea needs to work a lot, no,
See,
by yourselves doing things and then sell to the company, to the
mm,
big guys, no, to the directors, to the CEO. And how is this? No, nothing is like, no, they are sending projects to us and let's try to make, no. Sometimes ideas came from below and then you
exactly.
grow this idea. And even a big company as AGP, that maybe they are not thinking this exactly direction. We know that they have lots of
Mm,
projects trying to sustainability, blah blah blah, but not exactly doing. And when they saw, well, there's
yeah,
you sell in a with a good, no,
claro.
in a good way, let's say. They bought, and then now I think they launched 2
2 years
years
ago,
ago. No,
exactly.
it takes like how many years? Like 5 6 years to do the
It
whole
probably
project.
was a
No,
5 year
if
thing.
you consider
I would think
5 years, not easy.
yeah, around 5 years until it actually came out.
So you see, 5 years to make a new ink cartridge.
No,
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 so
no, it's
it's,
like
come on,
massive.
five
But
years. It's
also
not
like the
easy,
supply chain that's in the back,
and they
all of
are
the things that you need to have in line when you
for
actually
sure,
launch it on
for
such
sure,
a big scale. What is was heavy.
exactly.
It needed to go through testing and through everything, but everyone in the end was super happy. Yeah, no, I think that was like
No, no,
I
it
think
was
that
a
was still
great
the
example.
project probably with the biggest impact, because every year it still basically is the reduction rate, like of what could have happened.
Yes, and if you consider the volume, no, yes, no, I think if you consider, I don't know, I don't have the numbers of the. You said 80% more
Exactly,
or less you are reducing plastic, but if you consider the numbers that they have worldwide for these no large format
exactly,
printers, it's a
exactly.
huge volumes, huge
Yeah, no,
volumes.
that was
Great.
absolutely amazing. And afterwards, I kind of thought, I don't know what, like, I don't know if at HP a situation like this will appear again. And that's basically when I went to Holland to start to start a startup with two of my friends. And that's also like a project on
Yeah.
on my website still, that is basically being able to grow alternative protein, meaning mushrooms in that case, at home as a flower, like in the way of a flower bouquet. And they're absolutely beautiful. Um, you can't really call them plants because they're like a little bit out of the like plant
Uh huh.
species group, but they're absolutely amazing organisms. And yeah,
but how you came up with this idea? Do you have a friend that are
He was
kind of
already
doing
doing
this kind of
that.
thing? They are
Exactly. We were
creating this
actually
mushroom.
at a
Okay.
there was an event in Barcelona where IKEA and Space 10 invited like circular economy experts, designers from Barcelona and from all over Europe,
Mm-hmm.
all over the
Mm-hmm.
world actually, to think of
Yeah.
basically what kind of new circular economy concepts could, in very artistic interventions, actually could IKEA kind of play
Uh-huh.
with in an urban environment? And that's when he was also part of this whole group, and so that's when we actually met each
Ah,
other,
okay.
and the we immediately got to talk about, like, obviously, like there was like a big event with a lot of like-minded people, and we immediately kind of clicked. Was He's such a nice person, and so I went up to him, kind of to Holland, and we tried to basically make a product for it. And after we did a couple of tests and so on, I wasn't really, I think, of the Netherlands a very big fan. Also, I had my girlfriend in Barcelona, and I really wanted to go back to
Ah,
Barcelona.
that's a problem. Yes, yes. No, this is a good reason,
Exactly.
let's say.
And yeah, so that's when actually I think started to. I didn't want to go back to industrial design at that moment, and that is, yeah.
But I mean, before just to maybe for people they're gonna say, what the hell do
Oh
you talking
yeah,
about the brushes? So you kind of the idea of the company is to create a self. So you buy something, you
exactly.
buy
So
like a geometry,
exactly.
a rock,
So
something like a rock with a special materials that you have already. Let's say the mushroom seeds are
exactly.
inside
So
already, and then you need to put water or to put in a
hmm.
humid place. I don't know how it work.
Exactly.
How
So we
it work
tried
the
out a lot
idea
of stuff actually.
behind.
At the end, came to this something that works without electricity. We tried a lot of, so as a barrier, when
Okay.
taking a step back, even there's a lot of culinary mushrooms that you can grow very easily at home.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of, at that moment, like mushroom growing and stuff was a little bit of a thing in Europe, and like just very, like a little bit of a boom about it. But the things that you
Yeah.
could buy were really disgusting, kind of, because they were transparent bags where you actually saw all of the mushroom already growing inside. So some people were like, "Oh, what's that?"
Mm-hmm.
To me, after you understand it and what's going on in the bag, it's super beautiful because you can actually see what's happening. But
It's okay.
these kits that were these home grow kits that were sold, they
Uh-huh.
were like really disgusting. Didn't really work. Very, like, you kind of needed to spray it in a
Very
weird
well, let's
way.
say.
And what we wanted to do was something that you could actually put on the table, have a beautiful flower, like basically mushroom bouquet growing like a flower bouquet, because you
Mm.
have different colors, yellow, pink, all kinds of stuff. And once they're fully outgrown, you basically just take them and you can cook with them. Exactly.
You can cook with them,
And
right?
so the
Nice.
the uh, the project was really interesting because we did a lot of user testing as well, on because it's such a new thing and no one really knows how to even interact with a
Yeah.
mushroom. So that's why we wanted to have something
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
absolute minimum from your side, and you just put it there, you open a thing, and then it just like does its magic by itself. It keeps itself humid, and you don't have to do much.
And at the same time, it's like a decoration
Exactly,
piece also because of the colors, like a bouquet.
exactly,
That was
exactly.
nice. But you need to explain to people. Come on, it's just to make food. No, it doesn't make teas.
Sure.
It's a different mushroom. That or
Definitely.
maybe it's a
No,
good
no,
marketing,
the
even if you
official message is that yes, it's only for growing culinary
yeah,
mushroom.
for food. Yeah, culinary.
You
But
know, exactly.
feel free.
It's open
Feel
source. You can
free.
do whatever you want.
Open side, you can do.
Exactly. No.
Come on. But in the end, and what happens in the end? You
No, in the end,
didn't
we
work,
took
or
different paths because they wanted to focus more on like growing it themselves, also on small scale. And I wanted to try out a couple of different
okay,
things, but just like didn't align in that sense. So we said like, okay, then I'll be in Barcelona. I'll focus on my stuff again. And whenever they actually wanna
okay,
get into something bigger, obviously like I'm right there again.
yes,
Exactly. So they're
right.
still experimenting and
And
stuff,
then you
and
back
just as
to, yes, no, exactly. And then
exactly.
you back to Barcelona. So that time you was already out of
I was
HP that
already out
time,
of
no, because
HP,
you
exactly.
went to the P, and then you became a period out of GP, and then you back to GP also to make something, no,
Exactly. See,
as
like
far as I
what
remember,
I did
as a
exactly.
consultant.
What I basically did was I was still coming back. I was still doing a little bit of stuff together
Mm-hmm.
with the people in Holland, just to like finish up the project and everything. But what so I came back and I didn't want to do like just in like industrial design. I already by accident always fell more into like the more sustainable project and or sustainability focused project. So I
Yes,
wanted to
yes.
kind of like double down on that a little bit and started really studying all of the things that I didn't know. So I basically made sure that
Mm,
I only consult for like 3 days a week. And I
okay.
sometimes would consult 5 days a week and just get like my whole schedule full of projects if needed. But in the first years, I really filled all of that time with just like doing courses, reading books, making like basically making like studying a new master. And
Nice.
I focused a lot on in that sense on programming and artificial intelligence because I want like that was a booming thing and I
Mm-hmm.
really wanted to understand how that works and I wanted to understand what is the maths
Oh,
behind all of the systems and so on. So I really got into that and also sustainable product development, circular economy, and figured out, hey, there's something called life cycle assessments and like how do you do those? Like basically, I wanted to understand. I was reading all of those books about like this is the CO2 footprint of that product. This is the CO2 footprint of so, but I
uh-huh.
didn't understand where how are you gonna get like how are you getting those numbers and how are you calculating those
Yeah.
and so basically got into courses to become pretty much a life cycle assessment professional in that sense.
Great.
And because I
Great.
saw that in product design, one thing that happens very often is that a product would be developed and it would afterwards kind of get a certification or there would be like someone writes a report on how what the
Yeah.
footprint is. But at that moment, you
Uh-huh.
can't do anything anymore. Like it's just the finished product. You just made like some numbers
Yes,
for
of
it,
course.
but no one's gonna use this. This is just for,
But it's that is
and
the
that's
number.
that.
You cannot, maybe for the
Exactly.
next generations.
So I saw like a bit of a gap between the design development and the actual outcome because that information is really critical and really
Yeah.
valuable in the beginning when you think of five different
Sure.
business models, five different design concepts, and you're like, okay, I want
Mm-hmm.
to be able to understand what is the more or less sustainable one of each of those. So that's when I really started last year to do experiments with like also consultancies and so on to figure out at what moment does this information make most sense and it's most helpful to them in what form and can you even make an assessment of a product
Hmm.
for a
Okay.
hypothetical
Okay.
product, something that's not even there, but you kind of know what the design looks like, but you still want to figure out
Mm-hmm.
like generally this should we make it out of wood or should we make it out of steel or should we make it out of that kind of product. And yeah, that is pretty much what I studied all of that time. And very freshly, I think last year, really, I got into doing more of this. And actually, instead of industrial designing, doing that. So
you kind of helping, let's say, companies,
exactly,
any type of company, how can they think about this project before
exactly,
implement, of course, no? How did you can make something
exactly,
more sustainable, or even try to get the CO2 footprint,
exactly.
etc., etc. So you can help them and try to guide the company, or choose the best way to reduce. No, because I think in
Hmm,
India, I don't know, you can tell, I'm not a
hmm,
specialist in this area. I know, but I don't know how to calculate. I
hmm.
have the same doubts as you say. Oh, we have this
Yeah, yeah,
size
yeah,
of
whatever.
carbon footprint.
Yeah.
I say, okay, I don't know how do you, whatever. But and I think the target,
Hmm.
you can tell better. But what's the main target when a company, for example, hires you? Say, okay, Ben, I want to work with you, but
Yeah,
what do
exactly.
you offer to me? I will reduce, but as a company, I will tell from my
I know
side,
what you're
okay,
saying.
but
Yeah,
I want to reduce, but in the end, I
exactly,
want to win more money, because in the end,
exactly.
it's always about money, because I need to spend some money with you, and okay, I will reduce, but how can, or even worse or better, how can I sell to my clients? Because
Exactly.
I think that we discussed it, no,
See,
when
see, see,
we met last time. How can I say to my clients, or to
see.
my audience, that what I'm doing, it's
Exactly.
worth in there, no, when they want to buy my
See, see,
product?
see.
So I don't know. I know
It
that's
is
a,
it
a
no, no,
tough
but it
question.
is exactly the right one, and I think a lot of circular economy experts kind of like wash it off with, oh, you're going to reduce risks for the future, and oh, when the carbon taxes are coming in Europe, then you will have to pay more. Those are still years off, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
but okay, so for some companies that or larger companies that will absolutely be pressuring them, and they have to do something about that. And I see large companies already at least measuring their footprint quite well, trying to figure out even what how not just their own companies, but scope three, meaning like what are their providers doing, what are their suppliers doing, what are
Hmm.
their customers
Yeah,
doing with that product, and what kind of like footprint is that
exactly.
generating. So they're getting into that just because they need to be ready. And if you're a large company, you need to start counting your numbers already now in order to have those when before paying the fine in a couple of years. But um,
Yes,
what
exactly.
I do see in a lot of, and that's like realistic, you are losing money now already. Um, is for just to take an example, the smartphone industry. Smartphone sales globally had the peak in like 2016 or something, and it's
Yeah.
going down drastically in Europe, going down faster than in a lot of other markets. Because why? Because one phone or the other, they're all very much the same. All cameras are good.
Hmm.
All phones are pretty fast. Actually, the
Exactly.
last one that I got on Back Market, which is a second hand platform, I just got it because I dropped mine crazy, like that it was unsavable. And I'm actually worse off with this phone because the camera is different, and I don't really like the camera of the new one. So in that area where you don't really have a lot of differentiation, where the new product, the next line for next year, is so little
Hmm.
different from the one before, the
Yeah.
incentive for people nowadays is very little to actually buy a new phone, especially when the prices, with inflation going up, etc. There's a lot of people who just can't
yeah,
buy them anymore. And the market,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly the
It's
market
quite
of
important.
people
Yes.
who go second hand is growing so much, and new
A
sales are
lot.
dropping.
Yep.
So already the message to any mobile phone manufacturer in Europe is you are now losing money. You have to offer repair services or so to actually keep people with you,
Yeah.
to keep people with your company. Otherwise, they'll just like pick whatever cheapest
Yes.
is the next one. But if I know that I get a
Yep.
good repair service like from this one, the only reason why I didn't get like a Fairphone was well because my carrier didn't offer it, and I actually wanted
Mm-hmm.
to get a bit more of a damaged second-hand phone um, in that moment. Also because I wanted to try out back market,
Yep.
which again like is an absolutely amazing platform.
No, it's really nice, and the prices are, and I like because they put everything about this model, which how much this is a really good conditions. This
Yeah,
is more or less. So they try to put all the information.
exactly,
They don't want you, no, to put something that is not true. That's something really
exactly.
really interesting, no, nowadays, because usually they want to sell a second hand and say, oh
No, no,
no,
no,
everything is
exactly.
perfect, and
So
in the end
that
it's not perfect. No, they say no, no, this is exactly like this. You're gonna pay what you
exactly, exactly,
look for, no, basically.
and that I think is the message to a lot of companies, especially in like home appliances, consumer electronics,
Mm-hmm.
is the
Yeah, yeah,
chance that you are already losing money is if you do the market predictions right or forecasts right. If you're not
sure.
getting into a more circular dynamics, which very often means really just um, have a good repair service, have a good pickup or take back program, and have a
Yeah,
maybe enter in some way the second hand market um,
yeah,
is already where you can make money. Like you can now have a second foot because the leg that is
yeah.
now holding a company is getting smaller, and it's already getting smaller. So
No, no. I think one good example that you told us about the mobiles is small appliances. For example, nowadays,
yeah,
if you buy a blender or a toaster, it's, I would say, 99% of the case when you have a problem,
exactly.
you buy another one because it's something that's so cheap, like 40, 50 euros. Man, I know that's more expensive to repair, and then I bought a new one. But whatever brand, because there are different brands, Chinese, local, and you say, well, this one looks better. And if it doesn't work, I buy a new one. So, but in the end, you are
Yeah,
kind of spending more money, increasing, all
yeah,
this broken equipment. You don't know
yeah,
where are going. And home appliance is the same thing, because I don't know,
yeah,
even to update things, because you have a
yeah,
induction
yeah, yeah.
uh,
Stove. Yeah,
plate stove or
yeah,
hob, induction hob. And then if you need a new one, okay, you can buy
yeah,
a new one. That's the only way nowadays. But in the end, the ceramic glass and even the box
yeah,
that goes below that are supporting, it's quite the same thing, because the ceramic is the ceramic. If you have a good condition, you can use for, I don't know,
exactly,
20, 30 years. But in the end, you buy a new one, this one
exactly.
goes to the trash. I don't know what they do. The oven is the same thing. You want a new
Yeah,
oven, but the cavity, it takes, I don't know, some companies have 20 years old cavities, because cavity it's quite the
yeah,
same, maybe with
yeah,
small difference. But only the,
yeah,
the, the frontal glass handle, maybe the digital interface, but it's,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would say, 30% of
Absolutely,
the
and you,
oven, no, of
but
an
you're
oven. And
trashing
then you
everything
can,
now. Yeah,
but you don't have this. And I'm working
yeah,
this in this environment, and we try, we it's something that, as you made in HP,
yeah.
something that we need to sell, let's say, internally. But it's something that, how to have our
Claro,
users uh, with
claro,
us
claro,
all this
claro.
time, because if they want to make I want a new oven, okay, we cannot repair in this case, but we can
Yeah,
update your product to a new one, to make a
this is
better
it.
match with your new kitchen. But you don't need to
Yeah,
buy a new oven. And we know that people, for example, in Spain, they don't use oven. It's once
yeah.
in a week
Claro,
if
claro,
it's
claro,
too much.
claro.
So the cavity, it's perfect just to put the pans inside, no, to hide the the
Exacto.
fryer. So, but and in the end, you buy a new oven and you have all this big
Yeah,
amount
yeah.
of steel.
Claro,
What you
claro.
can do?
Is
It's
the thing already, like, one thing that uh, I hear really often, and some strategy I think against this, um, and it's different from like what, for example, happened at HP with the ink cartridge. Yeah, the ink cartridge was a very
mm-hmm,
specific moment in the time of HP when they
yeah,
needed when a systematic change in one snap was possible.
mm-hmm,
But with that, with, for example, like
yeah,
these repair services, you already, like, you make it a lot more understandable and manageable if you really just say, let's do a pilot in one city and see basically,
yeah,
and almost do like a fake
yeah,
service of, hey, um, we know right now they're not really like repairable, but we're gonna give like people like some small incentive. Maybe work with
uh-huh,
the this both the waste management company of the waste
yeah,
management department of the city, and say, cool,
mm-hmm,
like before things get thrown away, we're just gonna drive behind you for like a month or a couple of months, and we take all of the ovens in, and we're now
yeah,
gonna like make a little bit of a second-hand platform, or like just repair services just in one area of a city,
mm-hmm,
right?
yeah,
Where things
yeah,
suddenly become a lot more manageable, because now you don't have to think of, but I'm sitting in Germany as well, and how am I gonna get to Germany and like figure that, like, that is crazy.
yeah,
That is
yeah,
to implement a strategy like this on like globally or like even Europe wide is nuts, and I think pretty impossible. And I would treat any of those
yeah,
projects like any startup or spin off or any small project that is just a momentary local pilot.
great,
And the only thing that the
mm-hmm,
one thing though that I have to say is even for these little pilots, um, these projects usually they really need a designer. They need a service designer, also a supply chain person, someone from
mm-hmm, yeah,
R&D, because really often if I
mm-hmm,
talk with one person from supply chain only, then they say, yeah, this is very nice and like this is cool, but um, we can only do part of the product project. And then if I talk with someone from the design
uh-huh,
department, they're like, yeah, but we can only figure out like how to like access the screws a little bit better and so on. But the thing is, like,
yeah,
those
yeah,
5 or 4 people together, even if it's just a small group,
mm-hmm,
they have all of the knowledge to
yeah,
do an entire pilot like this. Um, you
yep,
do the calculations, you do a little bit of a forecasting, you do a potential benefits, and suddenly it's like just a presentation from management away that next month we're actually
mm-hmm,
going to do this. And that's like, I think the thing where people still, mm, there is still this one barrier of getting these people together, just to basically one person calling up a couple of other departments and saying, let's just talk about this for a minute. The same thing that
yeah,
is what doesn't change to the project from the ink cartridge, is where I went to people and said, can you give me feedback on this? Can we just like all 5 of us like meet at a table and just like talk about something very
mm-hmm,
hypothetical? It's not a project. But in those moments,
yeah,
suddenly everyone's like, this could actually like this could work, and it's not even far away. Like it's not even that unrealistic. Um, And yeah, it's then like that step of like, actually, it's not even that far away to present this to someone. Then it's not far away to, and suddenly you have a pilot. And if that pilot works, suddenly you have that as a regional pilot, and suddenly you actually like let it grow. And then
you can scale. No, I think that's the point. Is begin small, no, and not do any. We can do basically nothing alone. So you need the other. We are, because some people say, no, we are designer, we are the best. No, man, we are one more. No,
exactly
on this on this company, but you need to work with other experts, no, to make it work. So that's, I think, and begin small. So as you said, mate, you can make a pilot, internal pilot, just with your employees, and then you can try with their own products. Let's do with only people here. Let's see if it works, and then you can expect, if it works, of course,
exactly,
you can scale it. It's just a matter of timing,
because right now,
money,
like the companies or the startups that are currently like really successful in that field, they it's more of a service thing. It's really more of a service thing because, for example, but just to take an example, back market again, what they do so well is, right, they don't create a new player in the field. You have the producer of a company, you have the user, and you have like thousands of repair services that are already existent in Europe. They don't open new repair services. They just work with a couple ones and say, you have good ratings, so we work with you. Like, do you want to be in our platform? And the only thing they do is they handle the communication between that repair service, the repair service that is probably like some grandpa store somewhere on the corner, doesn't even have a website. But they do all of the communication for this store with the customer. They make sure that it's being sent correctly. They are really just taking care of this one, like, two-way relationship there, and they do that brilliantly. So yeah, you kind of need to figure out what also, like, where in this entire system your company could also, with the least amount of effort, have the biggest impact. And maybe you're just a communicator. Maybe you don't have to take care of all the other stuff.
No, exactly. Sometimes I think this is the problem. We want to reinvent the wheels. Come on, man. Even internally, sometimes in the company, when we are discussing with the engineers, or even internally in the design department, sometimes we start, oh, let's make this great thing. Man, come on, man. There is the thing is already existed. Let's just improve it or use as a base, because basically everything is already invented. We know that we don't need to create maybe small things, but if you saw big examples in big companies, they are kind of using existing things and improving or looking the gaps. No, as you said, the back market. Please, back market, no problem.
Yeah, we should tag
as we are talking
somehow,
about it, but exactly. No, but that's the idea. So they look the market, said, oh, there is a necessity here. There's some needs here that we can use. Nobody is doing that, and people really needs better prices. They look the market, as you told us. No, they are kind of declining. So, and now they have the market. They are kind of alone. No,
there's a couple of like regional other ones, but they are the ones like really expanding. Like now they're getting into like vacuum cleaners. They're trying to get into everything that is at home. Yeah.
It's great. It's a great example. There is this other one that I remember that I discussed with Mark Fabra from Lucid. This cell phone, this mobile from I don't remember the name.
Fairphone.
You know, the from Netherlands, no, from Holland. Yeah, I think this one that you can update it. You can ask parts by they have their website, and then you can update. You can do whatever you want. That's an incredible project. Really,
and iFixit, what is like nice is the iFixit, like the iFixit, it has a really strong collaboration with the Fairphone. Yeah, I guess they just started out as like a YouTube channel to like where they just fixed stuff. I think they had like a channel, but
I don't know, maybe
now they are like consulting governments on like right to repair topics, basically. So they really blew up massively as well.
No, yeah, no, that's
You see,
incredible. And how do you see this new, let's say, technology we can say about a AI? No, as you said, that you are kind of
mm.
looking for this new
See,
emerging. No, it's not emerging. It's a real. It's real. No, how this AI or
mm.
whatever other technology could help in this, let's
See.
call circular economy or
I think
sustainability design,
I
whatever you want to call.
I have hopes because like maybe I shouldn't have them, but I think um, in the field of especially in the field of like supply chain and efficiencies and so on, I hope, I assume AI would bring a lot in that area. One thing, like for example, I think
Hmm.
which could be interesting already in the next years is, and I hope I'm right about this, but the
Wow.
right now the only issue, the reason why I wouldn't get a really old smartphone from like 2013 or whatever, which I could, man,
Uh-huh.
because like why not? Is the software updates. At some point, it just doesn't work anymore, and
Yeah,
that's
you're right.
this planned obsolescence of product, where a company like
Hmm.
Apple knows exactly that in 5 years you won't get any software update anymore, because you actually, like when you look
Yeah.
at the phone and you like read through it, it says I think like up to five or whatever big system updates, and then like you're
Yeah.
out.
Yes.
Or like I'm not five. I
Yes.
don't know, but it's a specific number.
No, it's some, but they know because they know that the components they cannot afford more. It's what I have. I have the
Mm,
seven, the iPhone 7 for
exactly.
more than 7 years,
Muy bien.
7 years
Very
and a
good.
half. My phone. Yeah, right. And the last one was the iPhone 5, and I use it for 5 years. So
Nice,
I'm
man.
a
You're
really, I
way
take
above
care about.
average.
No,
Yeah.
no, and and I still love it. My phone, of course. Now it's getting no. Every
You
time
have to have a
you
moment
see
of like
that he's
meditation every time that you open an
fighting
app. Yeah.
a little bit, you see, but it's because of the hardware. The hardware doesn't support because they are increasing, like Windows.
Exactly.
If you try in the old machines, no, in the
See,
old computers, to put a Windows,
you'd
a
be
new Windows,
surprised
it's
though that
impossible.
it's not
But I mean,
necessarily the hardware. Like it's
yeah.
if you run other software on it with every update, again, like it's proven that these companies actually make your phone slower, and they pay fines
Mm,
for it, but the amount of money that they make just by making phones slower is way more. Like they're like, vale, whatever, like we just pay this
yeah,
and we continue to do whatever we do.
yeah.
But the I'm sorry, I lost my thought of train. Through train of thought. Where were we?
We are talking about when you, for example, this planet
Ah,
obsolescence of
exactly.
the phones, for
With
example, in the case
AI,
of the Apple one, they know that in
exactly.
five you have five
Exactly,
times to
exactly.
update your
And
software, etc.
what I would hope is that I don't know if you've seen the this like Rabbit company or the phone that basically just has AI on it. It doesn't have an interface basically. It just
The new
exactly,
one, the
exactly.
orange one, no, the red
Arguable
one.
the
Yes, I
design.
know. I didn't know a lot
See,
about, but I know you see every time when I open my YouTube, they are kind of make
exactly,
some something that is pop ups in my screen, and
exactly.
it's
I
interesting.
would hope that that in some way gets rid of operating systems itself, and just basically you get the function that you need in the moment. It's like if you don't have an app, you just
Mm,
need a very specific function in that moment. The AI can generate exactly
I
that
see.
function. It's gone in a second.
It's like a cloud. It's in the cloud. You just use when you
Exactly.
need something. They just create the
Yeah.
environment this no, on your
See,
equipment.
see,
Let's say
see.
not phone, because I don't know if it's a phone, but he creates in that moment for you, and then when
It
you don't need,
exactly. You
you
don't
don't
have
have
it.
it.
It's
It's
gone,
quite.
and I think it's something that could. hopefully functionally
Yes.
last for a lot longer, just because all of these things can, like an old version of whatever. Like this AI thing
Uh
could
huh.
talk
Uh
with
huh.
a new version and an old version because it understands basically both systems, and there
Yeah.
wouldn't be
The
any
system.
like versioning anymore. There wouldn't be any like this kind
Interesting.
of planned obsolescence. I hope can get weaker because of that. Because the
Yep.
AI itself would
Yep.
just maybe like how what runs in the background somewhere, it gets updated, but it's not on your phone. It's just as long as you have connection, it just is as smart as you want it to be, and it can always be this stupid box that you could have for 20 years, which would be amazing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that would be absolutely fantastic.
No, and in the end, for example, in the case of Apple or even what the other companies, I would say that maybe a little more complicated because of Android. They are using all the companies the same platform, not the same software. But in the case of Apple, they don't need. Let's say they
Yeah,
need to buy phones. Okay, they have something, no, something related. But in the end, they are winning money with the applications, all this market of applications, even the soft they could sell
yeah,
or license the software. So they can go in this direction. They don't
yeah,
need to buy more
yeah,
hardware. No,
yeah,
I think because they could win money in another way. They could do like that. No? I can license my software to you, this improvement, these updates. But if you want a new one, okay, your problem. But you really don't need. No, they don't
yeah,
really. I don't know the other companies as they use the same operational system. I don't know if it
yeah.
works in this case, but I
Say,
mean,
say,
could be, or as you said, the phone or the equipment, the communication equipment that's called like they are kind of adapting according to the user because sometimes you have a really strong equipment in
yeah,
terms of hardware, software, and people, I don't know, a node guy or a really one, they are not using all the
yeah,
functions, all this force that you have in your hand, but you are using just to take
exactly.
photos. Okay, or using just to see
Yeah,
WhatsApp. Man, you have
yeah,
a
yeah,
Formula One, and you are using as a regular car. So, and maybe you can adapt. You can reduce all the use and try to have
say,
a longer life by artificial intelligence. No,
exactly.
of course,
So
in
I
this
think
case.
in that sense, I have high hopes for that. I don't know if it will pan out. Some capitalist idea will probably
Maybe.
go over this.
Yes, a little bit communist. I know, no, but I think it's maybe not other companies, but I think there are lots of other or lots of people thinking about that, and maybe it's not 100%.
Mm,
We know capitalism is here. Well, they need to produce to
mm,
sell things, but
yeah.
there is a way. There is a way. Maybe why
And the
not?
other thing I think which would also be great, is with all of the, and again, history taught us different, because in the Industrial Revolution, also like people lost jobs. Now it's basically not, the only thing that is now interesting is that it's not study, like it's not the working people, the working force that kind of like loses jobs, but it's actually people who studied for like it's basically like blue collar jobs, right? Um,
Uh huh.
since that I think hasn't happened before, I would really hope that um, I think there's a little bit of a move towards work for
Uh
each
huh.
person, to actually like work on something that is not just to um, be at a job and do like be at a job and work on your project without much of a meaning or goal to it.
Mm-hmm.
But those people actually um, spending their time with meaningful stuff and more caring, like hopefully more caring about the people around
Mm,
them, the society kind of that they live in, contribute to that. I think this is something that is
yeah.
very difficult for AI to copy, because it's about like if we enjoy our life as a society or not.
Yeah.
And I think it's easier for people to contribute to that, and spend more time. Like maybe that's in the future our like work, our everyday work, right? Caring for people because the rest of the work is already done by the
Yeah.
AI anyway.
Exactly. No, it's something difficult to say nowadays as technology is kind of no uh, creating distance between us, no,
Mm.
between humans, no more. Let's say because we are kind of losing this essence, no, of the of our race, let's say. But I think it's the only. I agree with you. It's something that it is impossible to have some technology that could make something about that. It must be it must came from us, no, from the
Mm.
human, let's say,
Exactly.
race that we can do something.
Because
But
it's cool.
the problem is to
Yeah.
change people's mind.
Yeah.
No, that's the problem here. We are
Yeah.
more individualists nowadays. We are trying. No, internally we create our small world around the
Claro.
computer. So
Claro.
our cocoon. No,
Yeah.
but
And
it's
it's
true. It's
obviously
true.
there's always this
You're
thing of
right.
this balance of like, for example, the what's the Crea AI, for example, like the AI that does like the nice like or Viscom, like that does like nice renders within like a second, just over like a little bit of a sketch for you and whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I had that, and I taught basically digital design sketching at my university even, and I really like enjoyed doing it as a as an art form kind of. But as soon as I
Mm-hmm.
got to work, like to like okay, now I need to like draw I don't know how many concepts and so on. I was like,
Something.
or in that moment, I would have already liked to have that AI because I don't want to stay here until 2 in the morning having to sketch 50 concepts just because I promised to a client that I'm going to do that. Um,
Yeah,
I would
exactly.
rather go home and enjoy time with the people that I care about. And I think if we can figure out that this is the goal of artificial intelligence, then I'm completely okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I can.
No, yes, yes. You can have a let's say a better quality time. You know, so you reduce your this kind of things that you need to do. But because in the end, the most important thing is
Mm,
the concept. If you need to generate five concepts, so you have the idea, but to generate, you need to spend time. So you don't need to spend this time. So you have better quality because you have
exacto.
maybe more concepts in a few minutes, and then you can go home or do your
Exacto,
activities wherever
exacto.
you want. No, you go to the mountains,
Sí, sí, sí.
whatever. No,
Back to the mountains.
no, as the home appliances industry always said about the washers, dishwashers. It's the classic way to sell. To say no, you with a nice washer machine or a dryer or whatever, you can spend. You have more time to spend with your family. That's
Mm,
the idea behind this project. Of course, it's really old products, but the idea was the same to
claro.
reduce this. No, I need to wash
Yeah,
all the
yeah, yeah.
dish. Come on, so you spend an hour. No, just put everything there and then go to the living room to see a soap opera or a movie, whatever you want. So you have this.
Claro.
It happens, and now it's maybe a time that maybe we need to figure out how to
Mm,
enjoy maybe
sí, sí,
artificial
sí.
intelligence. I think this is the point. Not to to make things more difficult. Though. Just sometimes that what it's our way to think. No, let's complicate artificial intelligence, and then even the artificial intelligence becomes crazy with us. Okay, man, I don't know what you want. You want everything.
Exacto.
No, humans are not easy. You know
Exacto.
better than me.
Exacto. We are not. We are definitely not. But yeah, sí, sí.
Great,
I
great.
think, yeah.
And what's your going this direction? What's your recommendation? What's your advice for younger designers or people that are studying or starting in the profession, no, of design? What? do you have any advice to go, because it's always difficult to sell to these young guys, goes to try to
Yeah,
work in this way, no, in this, uh, what you can tell
I
to
think
them?
the biggest factor, it's almost impossible to know what you really want to do when you start out anyway.
For
So
sure.
um, I think the point is like that it's completely okay to revisit kind of like yourself, like after a few years, and do completely different things again. And
Yeah.
to which again, like also in the field of AI is mega important, because at some point something that you knew before is maybe invalid in another second, and you
Yeah.
shouldn't really see that as a burden, but a little bit more as a, okay, vale. Now let me think of what I would like to learn, and let me spend some time on actually learning that and trying to like figure out a new skill, figure out a new thing. Because just like in Singapore, actually, the ministry now had a speech that they will have a new, for people above 40, new funding,
Mm-hmm.
government funding for actually them to do new masters,
Mm.
to do new studies,
Oh,
because they
great.
see that
Mm-hmm.
AI is taking a lot of their professions, basically, and they see that in a few years,
Yeah.
they might have a lot of jobless people, basically. So I think it's
It's true. It's true.
instead of saying like, okay, this is what I like, this is what I study, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Um, mm, Accept that it's fine to like change, and even change sides completely. Um, if you want to
Yeah.
work as a supply chain person basically for a couple of years, wow, you will be an absolutely amazing designer afterwards, if you want to come back to design. All of
Sure.
these experiences
Sure.
just add up, and you're never done, basically. So,
Great. Great advice. No, yeah, and I think the most important thing, you know, that you studied something. I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. Maybe in the 80s, in the
could
70s
be. So,
was really true, but nowadays I'm quite sure that
be
you need
flexible.
to be updated all the time, flexible. Exactly, that flexible. First of all, flexible, and then stay tuned with all the new technology.
Exactly.
That's the only way to survive.
Exactly. Adapt,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
overcome.
yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. Well, man, you see, we are talking
Oh,
here more
see?
than an hour,
What's
1 hour and
that?
something.
Mira.
Yeah, 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 1 hour and 15, more or less. Something. Yes, yes, no, time goes really fast. Well, and as usual, well, was great, man. I don't know if you have any other, but I think we
See, we had
have
like,
touched
see, we
all
talked
your
about a lot of
main,
stuff.
really,
See, see.
compact of your great career. And as usual, I would like to make some, not the only two questions that I always
Hmm.
made for my guests. The first one, if you have any person who inspired or who still inspires you, that could be a professional or whoever you want to mention
See,
to us.
two. Yeah, this is gonna sound really cheesy, I guess, but it's actually
No
it's
problem, no
actually
problem.
my girlfriend who's um. See.
Oh, come
No, no, it's
on.
absolutely true, because she is um so open to ideas, and so like investigative kind of to things. Even if you would say, she would always be open to any argument that comes, even if she already has a position on a topic, and
Uh huh.
basically like remodels a little bit her brain quickly if the arguments like are more pointing in one or the other direction. So she's like a really like seemingly objective, like kind of like balanced on things. And I would
Great.
And also like I think inspires me a lot on basically doing a lot of studying.
And basically the profile, this the more or less the profile that we're talking about for the future.
Exactly,
She's really prepared for the future.
That is exactly
the profile,
and,
no?
that is not easy because exactly if you put a lot of
easy.
effort into a certain path, you want to follow that path because you already put so much effort into it. But I think always being able to take a step back, look at the situation, and figure out what path you wanna take. I think that is that, and also the she has a massive drive to just learn new things, and I think that also keeps me motivated. So
great,
a person that also like keeps me at it.
Great.
And I would be lying if I would say anyone else, I think.
No problem. Tell us her name that people could find her LinkedIn.
Antonella de Teano Vivas. Sí.
Great. I put the name below that people can check it.
She is very inspiring.
Great. No, great. No, great. And the second one is, if you have, I think you already show us a book
absolutely
that you like it, or a website, or a podcast, or something that you can look, or do you like to search for information?
Two things. One is like a New Scientist. Also has a podcast, but New Scientist, the paper, the newspaper. They have very good information about technology. They also will revisit new technology or like AI stuff or about climate change or whatever. And they will revisit stuff if they ever made either wrong information or whatever, or if there's new studies that actually like basically as a counter argument to something that they did before. So they're not set in one direction, but they also like basically like exactly go wherever the science goes, basically. So New Scientist, definitely amazing. This one, Always, Designed for the Real World, wonderful book.
Great.
Anything else? I think that would be it. I think if you already read this, you have like a really good understanding of my mental.
You can start opening your mind. Yes, exactly. As change your.
It did very much influence everything.
If we inspire a lot of people, it's a classic one for sure, and it's still updated.
Which is crazy. It's 50 years ago they wrote it.
There are some as movies also. No, I think that when you
get it right, you get it right.
They got. Yes, exactly. I think it's timeless. No, if you do something great.
Man, was super nice talking to you.
Thank you very much. And now we need to make the same chat, but now let's do it in Spanish so we have
both. So we can have the right subtitles.
Exactly. Then we have all the subtitles in both languages.